Mayor's on his way.
Okay. We need 2 more comments. We will get started. Nobody is here. We need 1 more.
Okay, will do. Okay.
Now you have Tracy.
It's still one.
All right, we need 1 more.
It's like his dad.
Right out here. Come on. She's right out here. Oh, Holly? Yeah. Okay. Not as long.
That's why when I was just, we are almost city, that's all. Yeah, it's.
Go, Dolly.
Hi.
It's up to me. All right. How would you get it? Yes. Regular council meeting for Tuesday, September 20th, it's called to order. Time is 6:33 to 24.
6:33.
6:33. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Council Hogan, present. Council Gowdy. Council Martin.
Present. She's on Zoom. Okay, what about Smith?
Smith, he texted fire or family.
Okay,
I'm present.
was that Kareem?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
We got you, Counselor.
All right, I'd like to make a motion. To suspend the 24-hour rule, I need to say. I have a people that were here yesterday from SealTech. That's coming to presentation to the entire council, not just me. So I want to get them to get in the meeting, that's why.
Now also.
The SealTech guy, just roll back the guys, 3 weeks ago.
Right, I also want to do the same.
Okay, now let me
Okay, I
do
need
this
to
first. Okay. Yeah, Tracy, are we voting on the first motion?
Counselor Gowdy. Council Martin.
Yeah.
You need the motion. That will down?
Okay, yeah, did we pass first motion?
Yes.
Okay, I make the motion to suspend rule 9.
Second. Counselor.
Got a second? Okay, yeah, call the roll.
Counselor Gowdy.
Yay.
Counselor Martin.
Yay. Okay, and I make a motion to allow a short presentation regarding the employee parking lot resurfacing with SealTech. Number 6, I hear Jim Laws.
So I need a second.
Second.
Counselor Bogan, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Now I'm gonna take the roll, Counselor Bogan. Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
Counselor Martin.
Yay,
and
thank you.
Counselor-
Yeah, my presentation is also, Honey Bay, Bell Bay.
Honey Bill Bay.
Honey Bell Bay. Actually got police in the city and messed up on her name or something went wrong, the printer or something, and she wasn't pleased with it. So if she comes, like you said, you won't come tonight, I would like to present that. So I need a second motion for that.
This evening,
Just when,
Okay, did you make a motion?
yeah,
I second your motion.
She wants to make a motion, then we'll. People, the version
of my class. Roll call, please.
I have who?
Take the roll call.
Counselor Martin, did you second?
Yeah, I second the motion. Again, let me put it for the record, so you have it, second the motion, okay?
Counselor Bogan. Counselor Gowdy,
Yeah.
Counselor Martin.
Yeah,
Yes.
I second that motion.
Counselor Gowdy,
Yeah.
Counselor Martin.
Yeah,
I need the motion for exactly what it's for.
Like I said, for the plat, I need permission, present her the key of the city.
The second,
I second that.
Counselor Bogan. Counselor Gowdy,
Okay.
Counselor Martin.
Yeah,
Passes, so if your presenters will be in order, it's going to be still test for the
Right.
parking lot. Come up there.
Jim Laws coming up. Okay. And do you have something to give to all the council people?
I do.
Okay. Thank you. You can-
Okay. So the map is of the proposed parking renovation area in the back parking lot, City Hall here. As we did our mill out procedure on past Saturday, we uncovered some soft areas which are denoted in blue, which are need full depth repair because there's nothing underneath the asphalt that we milled. And in order for the asphalt that is proposed to put back, in order for it to last, they need to put, a full depth repair, which is 3 inches of binder or 4 inches of stone, and then the 2 inches of proposed asphalt. And the green area is concrete that we milled asphalt off of the top of. And if we put the 2 inches that are proposed on top of that. Is that all right?
All right.
And in the green section is concrete underneath the asphalt we milled. And if we pave on top of that, you're gonna have reflective cracking within no time, month or two. So we don't think it will last with the way they spec'd in the asphalt.
We haven't paved the back parking lot in over 40, 50 years, maybe longer. And if we're gonna do, we need to do it right. I had a chance to look at what you guys showed me yesterday. And we know the area that we want the cement in the other area. So I just want to open up to the council to have any questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just answering, President, did we, go out for bid with this? Was it on the agenda or something, or is it under 40,000?
I think they the only.
How
one-
much is it?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Council contracts with property. Yes,
Yeah.
this was properly bid and submitted to you,
But did we,
and then you awarded it. Remember, we had a big back and forth about resurfacing the parking. lot.
Yeah.
And you guys, you had all the quotes, and Seal Tech was the awarded contractor, and We did pass the legislation, and then it took a while for one to get on their calendar because they're busy, and then get the tanks removed out of the parking lot.
And they,
But you did pass it, and it was properly bid.
Okay, Tracy,
Yes,
didn't we put this in the committee?
it was
Put back in the
the
committee?
original one, yeah, but then it was passed back in March or April.
Yeah, because I remember putting it back in committee.
Right, because there was it was going to go to the side, all the way to the sidewalk and that's what the talks were going back and forth, discussion and stuff. You were one of them that moved it out and voted for it.
And what was the original
Right.
quote?
okay.
Yeah, because I need some clarification, because if I'm gonna pass something, I just need to be clear, because if it's way back and you just have come and I need refreshing. You refreshing my memory
So
on
what
something,
do
because
you
I
need?
don't want to pass something and I know that.
Councilwoman Gotti, what do you need? Ask specific questions.
I
What do you need?
did, I did.
What is it?
I'm asking Tracy, when did this
Answer that, please, Tracy.
happen to be?
Let me go back, I'll be back. I'll
Yeah,
go in the
please.
office and-
All right, that's what I need to see. So it can freshen my memory, because if we going way back then, I need some clarification.
All right, you have that right. Jim, you want to elaborate on,
Sure.
and are you planning on doing this work this year?
Yes, we
Yeah.
started the asphalt milling last
Okay.
Saturday, was scheduled to pave this weekend.
Okay,
Now, in order for us to pave that blue section, that's where we walked you through and showed you the full depth areas,
Right.
which if you walk out there, you can see it's extremely soft. So,
Actually, I seen it when I came in, it was, straight and,
Yeah.
getting ready to do some work.
okay.
now,
I remember.
okay.
I need to remember what I'm doing so we can be all on the same.
Got it. So just as a note, in the green section, the concrete area that is proposed, installing 6 inches of concrete as you proposed in the other lot that we've been awarded, we use the same square footage number that we were awarded the original job with. So it's no different than the square foot number of the job we were awarded.
Now the green section, I don't want to, who has the floor right now? I don't want to interrupt you.
I attached a copy of the,
I see the green section on this thing here, right?
yeah, and then on the back is the quote.
Any other questions, Scott?
That's, basically, if everything clears and be okay, I'm gonna move forward with this.
I also want to add that the longer we put this off, everything goes up. And we need to move on this. The parking lot hasn't been paved in at least 50, 40. I've been up here 30 years and we didn't do no paving in the parking lot. So if you walk through, we know it needs to be paved. Our employees, and I think it's the step in the right direction.
When did it go off the bids?
So you remember,
She'll let you know. what she wants.
remember months ago,
Uh-huh.
the parking lot was bad rain, and another bad rain, parking lot caved in.
Yeah.
In the blue section here,
Okay.
particularly when you was coming in
Mm-hmm.
and then leaving out. We had a contractor that was doing another project,
Mm-hmm.
we had the leftover asphalt, and he kind of dumped it in there, and then it caved back in.
Okay.
because it just
Tracy,
couldn't-
read.
Thank you.
It was unanimously
Yeah,
passed
But
on
read it,
July
I want you to
19th.
read what you're
Okay.
passing out for the record, so we have. it
Oh,
on
yeah.
read.
resolution number 5422.
Okay.
It was a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept the bid of and contract with Seal Tech 17710 South Waterloo Road, Cleveland, Ohio, 44110 for resurfacing of the city hall parking lot and abutting sidewalks at a cost of $150,016.20 to be paid out of the general fund. It was passed on July
Hold it,
19th,
hold it.
and it was a
Give-
unanimous decision. I'm
Give
coming.
her one.
I've got one for everybody.
All right.
First to bring it, then
Oh, I didn't have time to.
Okay, I'm entertaining questions so we can move on
Okay.
this. Any more questions?
So the total amount here was
100.
159. 159, no, 150, 16. And 20. And we are adding to that another 87. So that's well over
Yeah,
Yeah.
what,
we bid for it.
what we bid
Mhm.
for it. And I would think that this would be significantly higher, that we would need to rebid it.
Yeah. Because it's two different prices, and that's why I said I need to see what we doing before we even bid on this. And this is a different price compared to this one. And it's two different prices, so. One is 150,000,
Mhm.
one is $87,946
that
and
would
80
total-
cents.
238
And it's,
instead of 150.
so
Hold.
which one is real?
Okay, Mayor, you need to intercede here.
So I'd like to remind you, Counselor. Last year this time,
Mhm.
we ran into the same instant.
Mayor, could you speak up, please?
Yeah,
Last year this time, we ran into the same situation with Euclid Avenue. In which the contractors came in and asked for a change order. Once they determined that what needed to be done would cause a change order and they would need more money. Remember that? And then Chapman fell in.
Yeah, I know Chapman.
Second one I'll give you is Third Avenue. Once they milled it and they got a good look at what was under that top layer, they came back for a change order. That is the same thing here. We would not have the blue area, we would not have seen this without the initial milling, taking off that top layer. So
okay,
this is a change order. The original bid is still 150. Change order, in order to correct the deficiencies that are now uncovered, are the blue area, and that's what you're looking at.
yeah, but why did he pass out this then? What was
That-
this
that
all
is the
about?
Change order.
That's
I'm talking, what was
in
this about?
addition to what we initially bid
So y'all,
in order to
y'all
do it.
bidding for more money then,
Right.
instead of the money that we already had.
Yeah, to put in an additional base
Okay.
and,
He didn't say that.
oh, I'm sorry.
He didn't say that at all.
Oh,
Same thing as Euclid Chapman, same thing as Third.
So this is about 60% higher,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's,
Any more bids?
Yeah.
an additional 7 inches compared to 2 inches that were
But hold
bid. Okay,
I think it's worth it. I'm not saying
okay.
that you're out to get us
Oh,
or
no, no.
anything like that. What I'm saying is that if it's more than 10% over, it's a big deal.
I understand.
And it's about 60% over.
Mhm.
And that's something that we need to really go back and look at.
And revisit, really, because it's a little higher than what it was. He gave us that.
Yeah.
And this is one price. I'm
Right.
not, that's why I asked for the other. So
But this
this
is
is cheaper. So this is going to be the final. This right here, what you just gave us, before I even looked back on that contract before. You just passed this out. This is what I'm asking.
Mhm, the
Is this
87,000
is the final price right here?
On top of what we bid.
on top of the 150,000, plus there's the 87,000.
It's a change order, Council.
Right,
I
the change
see.
order.
So 200,
And 30,
Reason being,
238,
if
right?
we put,
38.
reason being, if we put back what you propose, which we could, what you're gonna be faced with is what we pave is not gonna last at all, because there's nothing to hold the 2 inches of asphalt that were spec'd in the original bid. We didn't spec the bid, we just did what was bid out. And we couldn't tell till we milled off the asphalt. And now that's where we brought them out there and showed them the soft spots, which we could,
so we're gonna pay you for this and plus this, that's what
No,
you
it's
said.
going, I think it's going.
It's gonna come together.
Yeah, it's gonna
of
come
course,
together.
But I'm just saying,
Mhm.
you know, it's over 200,000.
Yeah,
It's It's closer to 250 than
Mhm.
200. It's 200, about 230.
For the driveway, that little small parking lot.
Mayor,
Yeah. Council President. So-
respond to us, and if we decide to do this, where we're
Where's
gonna get
the
the
line
extra,
at?
where we're gonna get the extra 87,000 from?
Yeah, so this is up to us, and again, I have to go back to you for that. Remember, they came back, and they wanted like 300,000,
Mhm.
and we drug our feet, and that 3 went to 6.
I mean, it's
So-
like highway robbery, really, because if you
But-
won't give a price, this is how
Council,
no, because I feel like they already seen the condition of the parking lot and they knew how many years that it have not been
They
done.
didn't know.
Well, guess what? They experts, you not.
No, but what I'm
They
saying,
the one doing the job and we not. They gave us one bid and then they went up on us.
Council.
go ahead,
So what
'cause-
happens is just like the contractor that did you whatever, they did the specs. The specs couldn't have anticipated what's going to be underneath it. So once they mill it, and then they find out this blue area is not going to take what was spec, that's why they came back with a change order. This is a
Okay, but I'm
common
just
thing that
saying,
happens.
and I'm not arguing with you, and it's just because we trying to save money for our city and they gave us one price. And then they turn around and add on to it and expect for us to pass it after we agree to this, and they should stick to the agreement.
well,
This is a contract
I-
that can't be broken.
so
And
if,
to add on, that's just a smack in the face.
but what they're saying, and I hear your point, but they're saying if we don't do this other part, the work is not gonna last.
Okay, but I'm just saying,
Mhm.
you know, when you get ready to do houses and stuff like that, I know people go into, the inspectors go into houses and stuff, and they go in, see how the house is and how it's framed and what need to be put in there and all that. So they add all that up and give you a contract and they be on their way. They don't come back and say, oh, it's a change because it's a crack in the ceiling, or it's a crack in the middle of the floor and we're gonna change it. No, I mean, it's a contract, and we need to stick with the contract.
So you're saying if we go with the 150,000, you're all right with that, but you want to go with the 240, 250,000? I'm asking you a question.
I mean, I'm not no expert, you not either, but at the end of the day, they was the expert that came to us and want to do the job and got the contract, and now they went up on us. If everybody go up on us, we'll never be ahead. We ain't got no grocery store, we ain't got nothing down here to say it's gonna benefit us. We is in crisis right now. We need help. Negotiate.
Mayor Brandon King, go ahead.
Councilors. Sure, we've all seen the TV show This Old House. Start taking stuff apart, you start finding other things that are falling apart underneath it, right? What I believe, and you can correct me, because this is what they do, right? This is what they do. These are the experts. But when we looked at it and we put it out, the bid, they quoted as spec, the first million. Right, taking that top layer off, uncovered the deficiency. But they wouldn't have known that. How would they know that? You're not gonna know that without taking the top layer off. Gotta take the top layer off. Uncover.
The bottom line, because if you already know it's something wrong already, when you walk into the parking lot, we all can see that. See, we wonder, can you see something is wrong with this parking lot?
Are you saying you rather go 1,000, not 250,000?
I mean, anything to make it look right and protect you, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. Yeah, but it's a $750,000.
It's not going to last.
Yeah, now it's not. Y'all done changed. Y'all done changed it. Y'all done changed the plan.
We ain't got, it is like, he's the only resource that we have on the face of the earth. We can't go nowhere. Cause we get a contract. And then he can change anytime he wants. What else gonna go wrong? You gonna come back with what? What else? If he finds something else, we're gonna keep coming back. I wanna put it back in committee.
But wait a minute, the parking lot is open. You put it back in the committee. Remember what we ran into last year. We had.
Well, we need to talk
and we
about
couldn't
this.
get-
He can't wait until the
Because
last
they
minute.
can't get the asphalt.
Wait a
at a
minute, y'all
certain
do this
time
all
of
the
the
time,
year.
Brandon. You dig up something and then y'all come back and ask for more money after y'all make y'all bid.
Whatever you pleasure.
After y'all make y'all bid, you already know, everybody see that this parking lot is digged up. And then you already know that they gonna find something wrong. You already know that it's been sitting there, that dirt been there for a long, long time. If things is up underneath, they're gonna break all up. We need pipes and everything else. I know what we need, but at the end of the day, if you wanna make a contract and the council already passed the contract, it should have been the same contract. It shouldn't be no add-on. They should do the work and give, and move.
Just a question, I'm sure other people bid this. Did
No,
anyone,
Where?
my question is, if anyone else bid it, we're bidding off of what was put out here. So we are bidding off of what they asked us to bid.
Even they said it's other bids, but I believe if it was other bids, you the only one who. is principal.
Well, that's anybody else that would uncovered what, after they milled it, they would present to you what they,
Even with the other street, he said that we held up on the street, which we didn't hold up on the street because for one thing, they rushed it and they was doing it in the cold winter time. I mean, going into the winter. So you know that the snow gonna freeze up pipes and stuff, you know, so the explosion come, you know, and then it rains and all that stuff during the winter time. So yeah, we gonna have some trouble. But if this is going right back into, how long is the contract? When is y'all gonna get finished? Cause I see you already started, and then y'all came into a problem, and now you presenting some more money. So.
well, it's a
how long?
two-step process anyhow. You mill it first before you pave it. And after you mill it, now you see what you're dealing with. You know, if you had a solid surface, that's why this whole map isn't, we're not, where it's blank here, we're not full depth repair because you have solid asphalt there.
Okay, I
And
mean,
if-
I
if-
just don't want y'all, yeah, you came in the door.
Well, we didn't know, no, we know how to repair it. I mean, we don't know what's underneath before we start. If you were to take in samples and somebody drills down and they take a cylinder out and they could see how many inches of asphalt are in that cylinder, how many inches of stone, that's another way. We don't know what's underneath there.
What? Oh, he should be here. Why isn't she here? Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah. Well, give us your perspective. Then you want to- before you make your, are you comfortable with 150,000?
Yeah, I'm comfortable, because that's what we
If you're not
had.
comfortable, it's 87.
We did not know this until today. This-
Lush.
Go ahead, Lou.
I was. 200,000 anyway. It was the lowest and best bid. And what happened was, the engineer took a survey of the parking lot. They presented the specifications to all of the bidders based on what they could see. So what happened was, when they got in to do the job, unanticipated defects were discovered that have to be addressed, that if not addressed, will result in cracks within 1 to 2 years. However, if you just don't want to go with that, what we can do is we can pay them the
$80,000 worth of work is already done. We leave parking lot like that for the rest of the year. If that's your pleasure.
No.
Already on there.
Okay. This today. If it was a problem, y'all could have gave us this last month or before I just said it. Oh, don't do that.
They did it
They did
Saturday.
it, right, but they did it Saturday. I found
They didn't know.
You- And you can't just throw this on us like that and we don't try to find out what's actually
We
going on.
don't give them $80,000 after several years.
No, you just want to.
Hold it.
I don't feel guilty. No,
That's good. Let's hear from the province, please.
Hello,
Yeah,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Davis.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't hear you all very well, and I think my test here, now I'm in the position of the residents, when they say that they can't hear, they really cannot hear you all. I cannot understand the specifics of what the gentleman is presenting, but I do want him to just answer one question and maybe two, and that is, what is the legal amount for you to come back on a cost overrun? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? Is it 30%? What's the legal amount?
and none of that.
Can you respond?
She asking me that?
Yes,
What the legal amount is?
yes. If
I
you're
don't
the
know.
tenant, you don't know?
No,
Okay.
to put it back, I mean,
No, if you're the contractor and you gave us a bid, we agreed to pay a certain amount, okay? I believe that there's a limit on how much you can come back for, and I believe that limit is 10%. That's why I was asking you, as the contractor, you're supposed to know that. I'm not specifically sure about that, but if the amount of money that you're asking for is more than 10%, then it needs to go back out to bid. This is the same thing that happened last year, ladies and gentlemen. We had a situation where a bid was done for some work, and the work, once they started, it came back, and they came back for $500,000. I don't know if you all remember that, but at that point, it was more than what was the original bid, so we couldn't do anything with it, and they needed to go back out to bid, if I'm not mistaken. And this is sort of down the same line. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Brandon King.
Yes,
And then we're gonna wrap this up.
that's simply inaccurate. Looking at a change order. Change order is what was just stated is inaccurate. You're looking at a change order. Change order is what a change order is.
You changed the order.
Because you have to add on to account for unforeseen issues that may have happened. So that's what's going on with this. That whole percent thing, where that came from, that is so not true. It's not true about what happened last year. We were all there. And last year, they came back with a change order and they said, hey, the cost of the materials have gone up. We hauled, we did not get it done, and wind up paying more money than they came back and asked for. So
It's because, Randy King, because they say one thing and do another. And these are experts, and they won't go in those suburbs or nowhere and play them like this.
So,
That is very
Counselor,
true.
Counselor, this is something
They
that,
won't allow it to happen. Only East Cleveland.
so Counselor, that's simply not true. Change orders happen.
Yeah,
all
it might
the time.
happen, but not often like this. That's why our city.
So my
It's council.
question is, from the council. Since we have a problem with the 87,000.
Is there a warranty?
there is.
It's not.
Well, I just bit off of your spec sheet, and this proposed change order is what we propose to do, and I imagine you would put that in contract form.
the warranty.
Well, you have a full year on materials and workmanship. Asphalt is like any parking lot roadway is due to crack. I mean, if the asphalt was defective, it raveled, we'd be responsible for repaving. 1 year.
1 year.
You'll know after a year if that asphalt's defective. And then,
Sit after.
well, I mean, if it's gonna wear, I mean, if the asphalt was defective, it would ravel in a year. Well, it's not in your
What's the one?
bid sheet either.
We ain't got no one.
What is, so guys, what do you
We gotta
think?
Well, I mean, we gotta come to some kind of agreement now, and I know we need that driver. We need the whole neighborhood done, but at the end of the day, we have to come to some kind of agreement where we, a contract is keeping your contract, regardless of what you say, you know, this is like a little bit too high to come back and ask for more money. It's a little too high. You know, we already given you $150,000 for that little system, right?
So is you comfortable with, we've done 150,000.
Yeah.
We can add back done. If we're not gonna do these,
But
we're
you,
not gonna do these 7,000, let them do it.
but you don't understand. They just gave us this
Yeah,
today,
right.
right now. We didn't even get no year warranty, nothing to guarantee us if something go wrong, nothing. This is just a claim. This would have been a claim if she wouldn't have, if Councilwoman wouldn't have mentioned. It would have just been just a plain old piece of paper and that's it. We need to have something in our hand before I make it.
Okay.
Can you get the warranty?
I can put it into the contract,
Can you put that
a year.
year?
But listen, we just, if you can give us 2 years, because time you fix it up, it's gonna last for, a year. We already know that.
Yeah,
If
You
give
could-
us a-
absolutely.
You said you give us 2 years. So are we gonna go? We're gonna go give me a $87,000.
Will he agree
Go
to
ahead.
give us the 2 years and anything else I wanna add to that?
I can't hear you.
For that amount.
So there's no legal requirement to bid, not my turn yet.
Are you finished with all that? Okay, go
So
ahead.
there's no legal requirement to read.
Okay.
Don't know the law, just say you don't know. There is no, in certain industries, there's no 50-year warranty on certain things.
We ain't asked for no 50 years. We
What I'm saying is when you look at that you're talking about, the average warranty for the year for that industry is what's applicable. Here, if it was 2 years, it was 3 years, say they give us 2, right? I think that's great for this material in this industry. Now, you talk about the price, right? If others are talking about the price, then what it costs to do a driveway and asphalt.
Okay, now,
Remember, we had this discussion over at the firehouse. What's a stack pipe? How do you know what,
Don't
you
talk
what
about
you
it.
talking about? Prices.
Please don't talk about
What,
it.
what understand it. You're talking about prices in a market that you don't know.
That's why, don't give me one price, give me two.
But they gave you.
Don't give me, when we bid on it, don't tell me that you wanna tell me that you wanna give me one price and it's okay. And then you told me it was last year when we bid on this, and then they came back and asked for more money because they dug it up Saturday, but we did not know when they're gonna do it. You did not make no announcement. You
We're
did
not
not
on
say
email.
nothing.
We're not on the email.
Well, I'm just saying, you didn't make no announcement for the people. No announcement in front of nobody to let us know anything. This is what I'm saying.
All
the
right.
day that we would start
Now,
to do the gender review.
we'll hear from the law.
Think with Dr. Hudak, that is that, she thought that there was some kind of Ohio revised code limitation. That's actually the initial bill, which was over. And we came to you last time we were here, remember? And we wanted transparency. That relates to the original, engineer's estimate for the bid when it first goes out. But for change orders, depending on what defects are found, that's not applicable. But thing is, I think you're in the process of negotiation. 3 years, with 3 years that call, we had if for 87,000, since he's gonna add 7 inches more of layer for the defect. 3 years.
That is. Because they, guess what? Breaks.
Yeah.
And the breaks, they say that they.
We could do 3. I don't know what that 4 entails. I mean, I'm confident 4 is fine, but there are cracks will develop in asphalt. Okay, but if the thing blew up, then I'd be in here fixing it, no charge, no problem, is what I'm saying.
Four years?
That's,
Okay. Okay, we'll, 4. Then, okay, so we should, all right, so what we need to do, if we go for.
Negotiate for the change.
Okay. You see how government works. Heard all my questions. 4 years. Okay, all right, 4 years. Okay, yes.
And we need a time. We want to see those.
We ready to, I need a motion?
That motion to accept the change order.
Yeah, yes, okay, Ms. Rhoda, make the motion.
Warranty.
Okay, let me- Go ahead, Ms. Rhoda.
In labor.
She just did.
Second.
Okay. Yeah, it's been seconded.
Counselor Gowdy?
Yay.
Oh, God is on fire now. Yeah. All right, you all right?
I wish he was there. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay.
Yeah. What do you need?
You too, sir.
Yeah.
Could you take the picture?
Yeah.
Poet.
The poet
Councilman Martin, 2 months.
Okay, how you want to situate it? Tracy, what about Robert?
Yeah.
Honey Bell Bay, a poet, and he named the street after her about 2 months.
Yes.
All right.
Tell me where is it?
Superior. That's street, doctor?
Lambert.
Thank you.
Councilwoman.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Got it? Thank you. You wanna say something? Go ahead. You think Honey Bell Bay?
I present this key to you, the city of East Cleveland, Key, the county, Bill, Betty, have done excellent work in the things that she's doing in art. And throughout the city, she do way more than what you ask. So we honor you today with this key to the city.
Thank you.
I'm a longtime product of East Cleveland schools. I talk about East Cleveland wherever I'm at. If I'm in Ghana, if I'm in Paris, wherever I'm at, I talk about East Cleveland. But I don't care. I still live here in East Cleveland.
Yes.
So when I live in East Cleveland. So when people tell stories, that's a story I don't know anything about. Because I'm a product of East Cleveland, the first flight I ever got on, when they talk about you taking kids to Paris, yes, the first time I got on a plane, Shaw High School took me. You know? So it's my duty. And that's what I've been doing with young people my whole life. In the footsteps of people like Nikki Giovanni and Ntozake Shange and Maya Angelou, who told me things like, you may write down in history with your little twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like us. I rise. Oh, does my sexiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with certainty and time. Just like hope springing high. Still. And they to you said a little something like, I too sing a lyric. Who's the doctor, brother? They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh, eat well, and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody will dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful this prison is and be ashamed. We too sing there. We too sing there. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. We never heard of you before. We give a scholarship out every year to Shaw High School.
All right.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Mark, when we work for the agenda items on, when you keep the agenda, then at the end of the meeting, the people on it, get 3 minutes. Okay? Okay, 3, all right. On the agenda items on, anyone? Okay. Chris, let's move on.
Good enough to speak.
There's, portion of the.
Keep it brief. Please check the county board of health or the Ohio Department of Disease Control updates on the COVID. My understanding is that positive tests here in the county have gone up. However, the severity of the infection or the COVID down, certain hospitalizations are down. Our next teletown hall will be Thursday, September 29th at 6 P.M. Again, that's Thursday, September 29th at 6 P.M. Mark your calendars for our next teletown hall. We will get the dial-in number and information up on the city's website. Those who like to dial in.
6 p.m.
6 P.M. Thursday, September 29th. Great discussion about the parking lot. I'm so glad we got it done. I have other good news regarding road resurfacing and rehab. We do have an MOU that's established with the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority to rehab the bus pads. Our conversation, and we're gonna seek funding to minimize or have a zero cost to the city. And I always ask for patience, not just for the bus pads, but for road resurfacing that's going on in a number of locations. Superior is really starting to shape up nice. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's gonna turn out. As we talked earlier a lot about the water main replacement. Last time we were in front of council, council wanted the language to read more specific to the ARPA funding. So we have reached out to Bricker and Eckler, who are ARPA lawyers, to work on that language, counselors, so that that money, it says in the legislation, is then coming out of the ARPA so that we get that done. Of course, we have to get that done. Hopefully we get it done this year. They have already gave us foresight that the cost of aggregates and material, including asphalt, will go up next year. And we have a pedestrian crosswalks awarded. They were here all last week, and we here this week mapping some of the crosswalks out. But they too are waiting, for the water mains to be fixed in certain locations before they start that. We also have come to an arrangement with Cook Construction. Kirby mentioned them before. They are the Department of Transportation certified. So they have a certification to work on main roads. Of course, if you have that certification, you can work on the side streets. But we're bringing them in, do a lot of the patchwork that is the city's responsibility once the Cleveland Water fixes a break or a bust on one of the streets. So you see a lot of the cones in the streets. We used the city of Cleveland's bid numbers. So they gave us the numbers that they were awarded to the city of Cleveland. They gave us those same numbers. So we're excited to get them started so they can start filling in some of those mess ups around the city. And unless there's any questions or concerns of me, Council President, ready to agree.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on, Madam Clerk.
Notification, that notification that the councilwoman worked forward, certified by the board of elections.
Decertified. Decertified. They're certified. Decertified. All right. Okay, let's move on. You got it, Mr. Novak. We can't hear you.
Hear you.
I hear you. You got, well, I know you speak to man, but you articulate.
Yes, you do.
We'll work that out. This coming Thursday? What time is that? Where's it at? On Zoom? Tuesday, September 22nd? 23rd? Okay, you. Recognize you want to.
Okay, I don't see my date on it, or like, oh, because I'm doing it. Okay. All right. I do have it. Yeah, this, my board meeting, and, but we did meet for, they did the- that we did. And, we are talking about the land, and, we also. Land that,
This,
Yeah,
this,
that's coming up, and we need to talk about that, we will be.
Community, so if you want to make a report?
For rescheduling. Counselor Smith is there, so.
Health and safety, which next up? Right, right, so my next meeting will be in October. I do want to say this, we've been, a whole lot about police. And, some of us unfortunately have to be fair and objective. Gonna have, go to court, whatever happens, I know that we go. So right now, according to our system, the institute. Thank you. Thank you.
Going into legislation, resolution number
Yeah.
16. Programs under the new ones that cost $100. A parcel of land. Part of zoning acquisition program. 508 Ohio.
Okay. Miami Valley, resolution 1622, bear your name with your pleasure. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm gonna fence it in. It's real close to my property. My side door is almost touching, and I'm having to walk from the side all the way to the front into my house. So I'm gonna garden it and beautify it and just make it beautiful.
You put it right in.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Ah, thank you.
We want to,
Yes. Okay. Done?
Anybody motion? Motion. Oh, yeah, I made a motion. I need a vote.
Go ahead. I said the motion. All the roll, Madam Clerk. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, I'd like to take a look at that lovely spot.
Oh,
And as I asked residents, vacant abandoned houses that are next to them,
mhm.
please understand there's a process to take those houses down, and have them demolished. So that smile, but I remember when I met you, there was no smile.
Yeah.
Now, getting you that part.
Thank you so much.
You for being patient.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
And we're gonna
Okay, Connie, okay.
Hi, everyone.
Resolution 5722 bids, and you're gonna be clear. Second?
No, Trevor needs that.
Oh, all right.
Pretty much the same thing as the other lady said, just a garden and just fencing in and having, space for my grandbaby to play in.
And I always like to hear from her about saying that so loud, so the next person can hear, because there's so many rumors about what you going to do, and they said it go with a garage.
No, no.
And it just-
No,
No.
this one of the grandbabies who's gonna be playing over there. Yeah,
One more time.
this one of the grandbabies that's gonna be playing over there. And we have a camera system set up where we can see the field so that we can see them while they're playing over there, so they can be safe. So,
So would you be?
I am gonna have her a doll house built. So it has the Amish, we have a relationship with the Amish, so he's building her a doll house and it has a little front porch. And it's not big, but she can play in it, you know, her and my other grandbaby, and a little bouncy house. And I've been back, I've had the garden boxes since March, since we put in our application.
The garden.
Yes,
is
yes,
different than you buy.
yes, yes, yes,
So-
yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah, no interruption.
Yeah, hold it, go ahead.
Can't hear. Any house to be built. So that was obviously just a room.
Yeah.
She couldn't even get a permit.
I really appreciate all this is on there. So. Councilman. Well, they pay cash money for it. And they, did the procedure, and they pay many a times in front of council, and they are here today. Although this is a different application, And I feel like if a person wanted that land, they could have had it a long time ago before they even tried to come and purchase that land, so, you did your work, I'm very proud of you,
Thank you.
and I'm moving forward.
Okay, I want to read.
You can read this into the- This is contract that we have.
I'll-
This is the-
Sure. But they, yeah, hold it, let me read it.
Need to have it. in-
Okay, this is the timeline of the event, I'm gonna be really very closely. Information gathered concerning the time of the event, the date applications were submitted, and the both applications were under two different programs. 16312 News, partial 673-17-041. Article County Land Bank since May 5th, 2014, transferred to East Cuban Land Bank August 2nd, 2018. Number one, March 14th, 2022, Lily King applied to purchase property under the land utilization ordinance, paying appraisal paid $300 and appraisal value of $1,300. Number two, April 13th, 2022, NAC meeting agenda. This reflect table and letters are sent to adjacent property to receive their support, inform them of the neighbor next door property. Three, May 4th, 2022, Lonzo Gist, grandson of the property owner, presented his brother, table to obtain more information such as actual guardianship papers of grandmother that is in a nursing home. June 2022, Mary Marie Chambers, Lonzo Gist applied for homeowner in the nursing home, does not live at the address. June 8th, 2022, NAC meeting canceled due to lack of a form. July 13th, 2022, NAC meeting, recommendation to sell 16312 Needview under the land reutilization program, not the neighbor next door, the land reutilization program, to King with the stipulation that no garage can be built.
You said that wasn't done.
Done,
It wasn't done
September
right.
6th, 2022. 16312 Needview on the regular council agenda at the first read. Lonzo Gist was at the meeting to rebut the seller to the King and to say he feels that they should have first choice over the King. He was asked why his brother did not apply before over the course of the last five years. He stated he wanted, once they received the letter that the Kings had applied to purchase. Two positions I'm reading here. Deposition of policy of the East Cuban Land Utilization Program. The city is not compelled to sell the land bank parcel to the highest bidder. The only financial restrictions specified by the Ohio Revised Code, chapter 5722, is that the property be sold was fair market value, which shall be interpreted as market value of the property conditioned by restrictions placed on the sale. The last paragraph here is, it is a matter of policy to notify adjacent owners any proposed sale of land bank lot. For the purpose of this policy, adjacency is defined as sharing a common boundary and fronting the same street. The notice is not an offer to sell the parcel to the adjacent owner. The adjacent owner has the right to submit a proposal or comments in response to the public notice. Then we met last week. Yeah. And we spent a lot of time with this. We met last week, discussed it and all like that. So we covered all the bases on it. Okay? All right.
So, you already understand that it's can't be no garage,
Yes, yes.
But I thought you
but
said it
it's
was
your
the-
property too, so this is different from the next one, right?
Right, it's a land use, yeah, right.
This is way different, so I don't know what you're talking about, before we were later, if you read the. According
What?
to.
What? Cars.
Okay. You know, I don't want to, if you're not ready tonight, money value.
Okay,
I
so,
really-
so you see it, I mean, this might not be no garage, but, I mean, it's her property, she can put whatever she wants. You can put a car on there if you want to. I mean, it's her car. You know, if you wanna put a bike on there, she can, or put a motorcycle. It's still her property, so we can't tell her what to do after the fact, but we just want to restrict the garage part, you know?
Okay.
So, I wanna move forward.
Okay, make a motion
I make a motion.
on legislation,
Want to make a motion to sponsor.
sponsor adoption of section
Sponsor
52.
and adopt 57.
Is there a second for the motion? I second the motion. Okay. Any discussion, if not, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Over there. Yeah.
There's only three, if she's gonna abstain, but I thought you
She's
can't.
abstaining?
You can't abstain. You have the best to do that.
Right.
Uh,
It's up to you.
You may have to move it forward until the council's.
Ms. Rose, what is your pleasure? What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna do it?
No, you're hard, you're on fire tonight. What's your pleasure? Ms. Rose? You abstaining?
Since we don't have two council people here.
Okay, what? We need 3 votes. With her abstaining, we don't have 3, so we'll, at our next meeting, when's the next meeting?
Supposed to be next meeting, we did all the proper work.
The next meeting is October.
Okay, it probably have a problem. If we have one council, this black, that's an issue. We couldn't
Okay.
make it. All you need is 3 votes to do that, so we'll do that, just be patient, we'll do that.
And if I gotta do a special.
Will I be informed with that?
We've discussed this enough. We have the meeting next week. You know what we want to do.
Okay,
Okay, let's move on.
thank you.
I don't think it should be run for a business.
So. Thank you. One is out of resolution of 59.2. Is this the time?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
First of all, we're going to fence it in. We're going to fence it in. We're going to put a garden there, a place for my brother to kind of sit out. He has cancer. We're gonna beautify the property, flowers around it, leave it open for those neighbors who want to, if they want to, depending on, where we live, if they can help keep it up and not try to destroy it. And also keep them using it as a dumping ground.
Anybody have any?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Colleagues, do that, please stay.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
And I am a product of East Cleveland Schools. We've been here for over 50 years.
All right.
So we have a vested interest in East Cleveland.
Annie, we appreciate that. Okay, we appreciate you, okay?
Mhm.
Right, so, yes, Mr. Gordon.
Of course, anything, vegetables, whatever. Any tools that are available by the city, sure. Sure, thank you.
Okay, Tracy, do we have a motion on the floor for council? With motion,
I make.
sponsor the, Resolution 5922, seconded by Rehoboth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have. You have.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mark, report, because I know, maybe I know you have some. If anyone can come up, you got 3 minutes. You want- Okay, we go next. That be Said. She go there. Young lady, you want to speak? You want to speak? Come on. Give us your name.
Wanda Jacobs,
Wanda
14
Jacobs.
1477 East 134th Street. My first question is, how is some land rejuvenation programs $1,300 and some are $100?
We can mirror answer. Land banks, they can, land bank you can do it for $100. This income of the land, station project, so it's a deal with. Right. The one for the land bank, that's for $100. This one came with the land, you thinking about. That's the
Well, the rejuvenation program is at $100 too.
No.
Right here on
It could be
5922 it is. 5922,
Yeah.
that's what it says.
No, it's land, that's the land. That's the neighbor next door. Difference in neighbor. The land is two different.
Okay, but what I'm saying, it says it's land rejuvenation program,
Right.
but it has $100. Is that the same thing, or is it 3 programs?
The neighbor next door, different rules. Well, Scotty. No. You wouldn't put that.
Well, wait,
Yeah, what?
okay, my second question is for elderly people that come here, elderly people, and it's mostly elderly people that come here. We have hearing problems and we need a microphone. And each council person and the mayor needs to talk into it when they're saying something, so everyone can hear. Because the whole you can't hear nothing she's saying.
You can't.
No.
Yes.
Now, I can't go back. With Tracy, we'll work on doing it. Right. We're gonna get a whole new system. Right, and you see the work is being done. We're gonna have new properties, all this. Go ahead.
Give God the glory, Vida Saeed. I am coming here partly to announce, well, one more thing. When I arrived here to come to this meeting, right out those doors was a lady grieving about her daughter that had been, she didn't know what happened to her. She heard her had, yeah, her and her daughter had some words, and her daughter left. She hadn't seen her since, and she's grieving. Okay. And it must have been meant for me to see that, because I offered her my information, not in respect to the police officer. But I only had like a flyer like this, all messed up, and I put my stuff on there about the Glorious Peace March that I'm having Saturday. I come in here and one flyer was left from weeks ago that was meant for her, and I gave it to her. So she was able to know that. So this is the very reason why we need a peace march like this, things that happen out like that. I had one of my children stolen from me before, and that was devastating. Fortunately, and Juanita knows a lot about that. How I grieved for that. And fortunately, God made it where I was able to see that baby again, and he's now grown and a musician. However, a lot of people don't get their children back, especially when they go out in the streets. So this is the very reason why we need a peace march like this, glorious peace march. This was like, she had a short notice, yeah, you know, I was put up to doing this really by Art McCoy, but he's a part of it. So, but it's gonna be Saturday, September 24th at 2 o'clock, starting at Windermere, assembling at 1. Yeah. And it's going from Windermere to Superior to Deborah Ann Lane. We're gonna have a programming, and we're gonna make it really exciting because we're gonna be thankful for our breath of life. That's one thing that I make sure that we're doing, to that level. And but it's pending considering the approval of the mayor. So I need to talk to the mayor. Mayor, can I get your permission to talk to you after the meeting? Mayor, can I get you about the Peace March and maybe some other pending things?
Actually, I can't talk after the meeting. We can get you scheduled to come. You should have done this week's ago.
I called.
Saturday, yeah, you can drop off some flyers, we can take a look at it, try to get you in. Tomorrow's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, so if you drop off that information, the mayor's executive assistant, Canetta is behind you, drop it off.
Okay, Ms. Canetta, I've called and you told me to call again. I called again, but I keep getting told, call back. So I don't want to have to go through have to call them back all the time. Okay. So I'm hoping that, things will be.
It's incumbent upon you to get trying to get whatever you can. All right. Okay, Mr. Guest.
Alonzo Gist again up here. Very disappointed in some things going on here today. I just have a question for the council here, you two in particular. I want to know, when do you draw a line? If a neighbor in something, you guys have a lot of regards on what happens in people's lives, and more than you obviously know. So when a neighbor is addressed about something, where do they set their precedence? What does their opinion even mean in this situation? Because that's exactly what's going on here, and it's not right. I mean, it seems to be this $1,300 is what you guys are more interested in, because I did my research on Kings and they own 3 different properties sitting next to 3 different vacant lots. I'm sorry, what was that? I'm not saying anything negative. I'm stating facts. Okay, so you have to look at the underlying agenda. Some people, I mean, really, it's kind of ridiculous. They own 3 different properties next to 3 different vacant lots that they can buy. And the fact that I'm even here spending my time taking off of work, it should show you guys something that it means a lot to who the people is going to affect. That's really going to affect. Also, where they live in proximity is going to affect me regardless. I don't know if you guys if I'm screaming to a blank crowd or what, but I'm screaming for a reason. I'm not trying to do this. I don't want to beef with my neighbors. I don't want to feud with my neighbors, but literally you're letting them come into our territory at this point. And I even say it's our territory, like it's like that, but where their house is compared to where our house is, they don't live across the street. They don't live that next house. They live 3 houses across, 3 houses away from the vacant lot. Okay, we live next door to it. Okay, and basically they'll be coming in our proximity. Okay, and then we already have problems with them coming in our proximity, walking their dogs in their yard when they don't have to or whatnot. But that's needless to say. My whole point about this is we're the neighbor next door. If you notify them, then why not give them a chance to do what is needed to be done? And you guys are taking it upon your hands to say, well, they did it first. Well, they did it first, but you told me that there's nobody's set precedent, whether it's a higher, if they're paying more or you live next door. So now it's a moral thing. What do you think is right? To let the person that's lived next door there for years, 20+ years, or let somebody that just moved on the street buy a vacant lot? I mean, that's my question to you, actually. It's not fair. It's not fair. And then me coming here, I'm taking out time of work. I'm doing this. This shows you I'm adamant. It's not, I don't have any animosity towards them. When you just asked her what she was gonna do, she gave you 5 different things. She don't even have a set thing to do. And then you told me also, yeah, you also told me she can do whatever she wants on it. And I asked you specifically not to let them make a garage. And she sat here and said that, right, but she just sat here and said that they could do whatever they want when it once there's theirs. Well, that's what the council, I'm listening to the council. Okay, so, and then what did I ask you, Mr. Martin? We don't want cars over there. We don't want it to be a parking lot, but you can't do nothing about that, right? Well, that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. This is the whole feud. This is the whole feud, Mr. Martin. It's in your power. I'm telling you, it's in your power. It is in your power. You're the city council. Let's make the right decision. Let's make the right decision, you guys.
I have something to say. I have something to say.
Gotta wait.
I'm with him. Let me say our little piece. I'm with him.
You know what? Look.
Come on, just calm down. Just calm down.
I can't hear you. I
Let
can't
her
hear you.
talk. You need to speak so we can hear.
You cannot hear.
Go ahead. Yeah, come on.
I'll wait until I have the floor because everybody is speaking. Well, I'm just gonna start this. This council, no, you can't tell me what to say. But we be quiet and let me speak then.
Go ahead.
Every time I get up here, there's always a plea. I have never, ever seen a mess like this. I don't know who council and who's who, whatever. Everybody seemed to be the council around here. I thought we only elected 5.
This is part of your agreement of presentation, back to the council.
No, I'm just saying what I experiencing here now. I never seen nothing like this before. You've been here, Mark. You haven't seen nothing like this. No, you haven't. You
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Please. Go ahead.
can I speak now?
Yes, you can.
And I hope my time is not running. You take it. I went out and I looked at the parking lot. I'll just start here. Contracts and property. I'll say contracts. I'll just read the property. Have landed many folks in jail. And that's irrefutable. Basically, here that we have gone through is contracts that landed folks in jail. You started out right, and I support what you were saying, but then you turn around and gave in. I'm finished, I'm talking now. And I'm not going to bite my tongue about it. No, I said you started out real well. You were asking questions, etc. And I agree with you. Now, as I said, I went out and looked at that parking lot. There's a place over there where I guess what he was alluding to. But when you entered into a contract, and that everybody agreed, there should have been some guarantees from the beginning on their work, etc. All of that should have been in the contract when you sign off on something. And I don't know who perused it or whatever, but as I said, there's a lower spot over there. I don't think it takes 87 or 86 or $87,000 for that little spot I saw over there. And you're adding to the contract that you've entered into. And somebody said, well, if you entered into contract and he agreed, the city agreed, they agreed. You perform that duty. That, I think the judge, I mean, not the judge, the law director said to you early on that it was, in one of the contracts, it was 20% over or whatever, not 10%, it was 20%. And you guys, I guess, passed that as well. I'm saying to you again, please be careful with contracts because it will land you in jail. That's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. The FBI's are already in here. It's my understanding. And they're going to just, and I want to say to you, and I'll just, thank you. And I'll tell you what I thank you for. You did well. Thank you. And I'll tell you personally.
Thank you, Mr. O'Mays. You want to the mayor?
No.
Oh, yeah, Ms. Chambers? Ms. Chambers? Ms. Chambers? Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
You have a phone?
Well, what I wanted to say is that street, I'm speaking of a 163 12, that address. You know, back when they built the street, they had a lot of 2-family houses and 1 family back 100 years ago, because all the houses over there is like 100 years old. And they probably didn't have that many cars. So they don't have congestion by having 2 families. But now it's a different story. Everybody in the 2-family has at least 1 car or 2. So the thing is, the street is being congested. The Kings want to park their cars in the lot next door to my mom's house. And it shouldn't be used for a business. And they have a rental home business and they have their vehicles for that purpose. And you know, we have serious holes on that street. I'm not saying it's from them, but I'm saying all the traffic. You got 7 cars parked next to my mom's house. You know, that's in and out traffic. That's what the purpose of her wanting to use the property, not for her grandchildren, and I'm all about beautifying the neighborhood because I've been a resident since I was 5 years old and I'm 65 now. Okay, so I'm all about beautifying, but having it for a parking spot just for her vehicles, for her business, you're making it commercial, not residential. That's what I wanted to say. And you should have some compassion for the people who live next door that have to deal with all these cars going in and out. And, you know, she said she can't have a garage, but she darn gonna put a driveway there because she told me herself. So you just throw up your hands? Is that what it is?
Anyone else have anything to say? Yeah, let's move on. Mayor, please respond to what's your name again?
Wanda Jacob.
Jacob, please respond to her inquiry. Clearly.
So that we're all clear, if we could think of the East Cleveland Land Bank as an entity which holds parcels of land that the city owns.
Speak up.
Think of East Cleveland Land Bank as an entity that holds parcels of land that the city owns. Only council can dispose of real property. The any property which the city owns that is then transferred to someone else has to first come through city council. Now, the program, when you think of land reutilization or reutilization means to put something back into use. So the land reutilization program is just a name for putting that property back into use, getting it out of the city. Now, there are two ways in which property leaves the city's land bank. One is the neighbor next door. Councilman Martin can tell us all about the late great council Mildred Brewer, who put it in place, the neighbor next door, so that residents who stay next door to vacant and abandoned land that the city owns could get that for $100 as part of the land utilization program. Second way to get it out is to have it appraised. And then after it's appraised, it has to be sold for that appraisal, or council can elect to sell it for less than that appraisal. And that's in the document that Nate, that the council president read to you. You read it into the record, the rules of the way in which they were buying this property, again, out of the land reutilization program. I hope they got it. Okay.
I think what she kind of doesn't understand, because they may build 3 blocks down, this is the way it was explained to me. If you build 3 blocks down and it's not adjacent, you have to go to the other program, the appraisal and all that.
Neighbor next door.
They-
Next door. That's.
That's
because
they did
not-
not-
If you would like a copy of what he read, we can get you a copy of it that we can read. The second issue you had, and I have to continue to apologize and ask for everyone's patience on this. This system is not fully put in place. One of the things that we're trying to do with this system is to have it so that the judge can arraign people as they remain incarcerated or detained, I guess that's what to put it. And that has not been fully implemented. Again, lack of getting materials, lack of getting workers, everyone is challenged getting this stuff done. And the home office that is responsible for all this keep asking, when are you guys gonna finish the room in the jail so that they can do this teleconference? So it's not finished, so this hasn't been properly set up, nor do we have the new furniture. So please be patient as we get this up and running. I believe that that's it. So, unless there's any questions or concerns, Council President, that concludes my remarks.
Okay, we're gonna start with, Maureen Stevenson, and then we'll go back. All right, Maureen Stevenson, is she still there? Okay, let's go to. All right. Okay, just go over there. Thank you. Green. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Green.
Seeds. Flowers. So if you're interested in working, now, in doing crocheting, a farmer's market at 10. one of the things I'm doing with my funds here is I have asked for money for Noah to have cash, well, not cash, but have a credit at farmers markets for food for their next event. I'd like to see like food. But my biggest concern right now is police force. And as you're aware, of 7 of our police force who have been invited. And that's approximately 15% of police force. I am especially concerned that these chiefs had a conviction before he was named. And I think that is something that we should be very concerned about. Don't know what the time now is. But at any rate, I am very concerned about the status of the police force. And we had a presentation by the acting police chief has assured us that he is trying to handle problems. But this is a serious problem, and we all turn not only that we have these people who have problems, but that the police chief had a conviction for the man in the police. That is a serious.
Okay, Valley.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and what's their opinion. And today, I know that it has been kind of stressful to even try to submit things to us on time. But since we got through this, we got a bargain. I am so glad of the bargain. God, I mean, we need that 4 years of contract of, in case something happened to the parking lot. And we need that backup plan, so I'm happy that we do have a plan that we are proud of, that we all passed and we all satisfied. We all got what we wanted out of that, so congratulations to each and every one. Honey Bell Bay, submitting her the piece to this committee. And that was an honor today, and I'm so glad that she came and she did her part and telling us about what she do, and she do a lot of work and be behind the scenes. And a lot of people don't get the praise because a lot of people do work behind the scenes. Just because you don't see them in the front, she do have scholarship for children every week. You should see she even have a program called The Gentleman. And I tell you, they are very well mannered. And we need that out of them. And then she do a lot. So I mean, I can go on and on, but I just thank her for coming out and presenting herself. And we give it a huge thank you, counselors and our great clerks and everything for putting everything together. And about the land bank, like Mayor King said, it's 2 different parts of the land bank. One is the next door neighbor, and the other one is straight out and by the next. And this is what the Kings do. They kept coming, and they bought the land. They did what they're supposed to do, and we can't help it that somebody found out that they bought the land and want the land, and then 20 years later, they want to pop up and say, shoot, we want the land too, because the grandmother happened to be in the nursing home, can't get the land. And then the grandson is there, and the Kings actually had their work. And if anybody do their work here, I'm behind you 100%. I'm not the one that's going to be mad at another person because somebody jumped up and got something for them. It's just like somebody get a brand new car. It's just like somebody got 2 cars in the driveway and somebody get a brand new car. And you go get mad because that person got a car down the street because you wanted that car. And these 2 cars was for sale, and you was the last one that did on the car. So if you last bid on something and wanted it, the grandmother was home for 20 years or more. They stayed in the neighborhood. They wanted that land big and they could not do it. Don't wait until somebody else wants something and then you want to jump up and say, I'm the next door neighbor. They did the work and they want to get the money. And that's all I got to say about that because they did come forward with application. Also, I want to thank everybody from, coming up and voice your opinion. Rita, even, you want in your programs and stuff, you know, continue. Something that actually is supposed to be happening with that, you know, continue staying strong. You know, in the battlefield, now you're mighty on him. You know, remember you was in a wheelchair, now you walking around and talking and everything, and you happen to see something that you gave your fire. You know, so don't give up, okay? And, you know, Maze, I want to thank you for keep saying the police. I understand that, but it's because of how it came to us, how they presented this prior to us. I had to go back and revisit. Don't believe me. Tracy had to go back and pull this up. So we did pass the legislation, and when they had problems, we added on to it. So it's going to be attached with contract and with benefits. That's what we're gonna have. Guaranteed 4-year warranty. So we ain't got that. We wanna have it, we ain't got it, but we got it. You know, so we didn't want that. So benefits and different groups. So I just want you to know that I'm glad that you keep speaking that because people need to know that, yeah, things is happening, but things is also happening in the positive. So we need our parking lot. We need the city hall, we need the elevator. We need our whole neighborhood, but we only can do a little bit. Thank you for coming out again. Thank you, everybody.
I'm gonna be very brief. Only thing everyone from coming out. And what you're witnessing here is democracy. It's not a perfect situation, but that's how it works. If you see going in here, it's the same thing. You watch them or it comes. So I want you all to be blessed. I also want you to talk to your neighbors about voting. The election is November 8th. We've got to vote. Not about voting for me or Oliak, Valley, Stevenson, Smith. It's about what we do today is going to impact our kids and grandkids. We have to stay focused. I'm reaching out to you, said we have to work together. We have our differences, we have to work together. I think Brandon team has done well. Been patient. He's brought good people over the board. It's perfect. No, I'm not perfect either. We all have our shortcomings. So exercise your cognitive ability. Think about what you're going to do November 8th. Talk to your neighbors about voting. Voting rules are not looking good. Okay. You got to vote. We're here because people voted us in. Okay. So don't take that for granted. We had dialogue. I want to thank something that I saw today. We got 4-year contract. Okay, I'll take that. We got it. Okay, so we as a body trying to do the best we can. Don't forget them now. That I accept with so we should. Thank you. Then we got to go out.